The banking system we have now is our money's based on nothing. There is no there's no currency behind our currency. There's no gold or anything.
We're on a freely floating exchange rate system in which our country is the reserve dollar. So the value of all currencies is based on their relationship with the U.S. dollar, which is backed only by imagination.
Yeah, exactly. We're working with legal monopoly money. Now, it used to be that our money was backed on gold. It was backed on what was called a fractional reserve system, in which a certain percentage of that dollar was backed by gold. So, I mean, let's say that like 50% of that dollar is backed by gold. You can go to a bank and go, I want this dollar's equivalent in gold, and they would have to give it to you.
Yeah.
And you could also have coins made, but that's a whole other thing. And during Nixon era, the gold standard was completely destroyed, and we went to money that was worth
nothing. And about a week or two before we got off the gold standard, the oil companies had foreknowledge and purchased as much gold as possible at $33 an ounce, and it shot up to about $300-400 an ounce in only a month.
It's a common theme. They always cash in right before their planned event, like the dumping of the BP stocks right before.
And Martha Stewart living.
Yeah. Of course.
But going back to the banking thing, what they were trying to do is they're trying to get rid of the gold. They're getting rid of the gold standard, and they want to have a system in which the big banks can actually engage in these really terrible loan processes, so they can make money and have the federal government, namely the United States taxpayer, to bail them out. A system they've already had in England, which is actually one of the reasons why the Revolutionary War happened, was because of how worthless the English dollar was, and because of the economic control that the forefathers hated. So, I mean, we had already had two national banks before. They were destroyed in the due course, and they want a third one. And what they came up with a system in which all these banks, so much of what they have is backed by the government. So we have these banks that, they engage in terrible loaning processes to like third world nations in, the former Soviet bloc, and knowing they're not going to get their money back, and making investment after investment after investment, and just because of the way it's tied up, they can make these things go belly under, and the government's going to have to bail them out. And the government bails them out using the Federal Reserve Bank, which they ask for more money to be made. The bank makes the money, and all of our money suffers from inflation. And for those who don't know what inflation is, that's when you have this fictional money. If you put more money into the system without taking money out of the system, the value of the dollar goes down, which is why all of a sudden bread right now is like $3 to buy a loaf of bread, and milk's like about $3.50, even though really they haven't gotten better or worse. It's just the value of our dollar has gone down. And you can talk more about this, but it's...
And in case if you didn't know this, like the United States Postal Service, the Federal Reserve is a private corporation posing as a government entity for public interest.
Yes, and recently, after the big the bubble burst recently for us back in 2007, I believe was when the economic thing happened.
Yep. 2000.
The recession officially started in December 2007, and then it wasn't televised until October of 2008.
Well, the federal government audited the Federal Reserve Bank, and they said no. And I think that was the only time in American history someone was audited by the Senate, and they said no. And guess what? It never happened. That's how much power these people have.
Yeah. They just shot down the Ron Paul proposal to audit them. It's not going to happen. They're either going to be abolished or they're going to take over. It's one or the other.
They don't want people to know about the practices they're doing because they're so awful. And the thing is, we could, with the right amount of effort, go back to a system where we're backed by gold, or actually silver is the preferred method with most economists because there's more of it and it's easier to balance than gold is.
Silver is currently undervalued, whereas gold is overvalued because so many people have hopped on the gold train that the price of gold has actually gotten out of hand because so many people are trading it and like buying it and stuff. Silver is actually, there's supposed to be a ratio of like, I don't know, 23-to-1 or something of the gold versus silver. And if you look at the ratio of the relationship between the price of silver and the price of gold, silver is nowhere near what it should be now.
Like around $20.
If you want to invest in anything, don't invest in gold. You're too late. Go invest in silver, and you probably will make a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing with silver. Silver is one of the most stable metals to deal with when it comes to just trading. So we could easily, well, not easily, it would take some work, but if we got rid of the Federal Reserve System, wink, wink. If we got rid of the system, you could then implement a system in which our dollar is backed by, some sort of metal, which is how it was supposed to be, because I can go on a whole dissertation about the Articles of Confederation in their bank, but I won't. But if you have this metal-backed system, we don't have to worry so much about inflation. And the thing is, at any point, you can switch it to a new metal. You just have to buy into it. So, for example, if we go into the world if we go into the world of
I was letting that thing load, and it finally got done loading, and you got off the page. Okay,
oh no!
In a second.
But if we went to like a system in Avatar where we go to unobtainium, we can switch it to that. It's just buy the metal, and that's what it's based off of. And then we become the economic center of the world again because everyone will buy up our money because it's worth something. But they don't want that because the UN, they all want to move towards a system where we have one government and one banking system. The euro was a first step, and they're talking about the Amero, and then there's a South Amero, and the Africano, and there's actually one for Asia. I forget what it's called. But eventually they want to have one currency and one government, and then one set of bureaucrats so that they could tell us all what to do.
Unreal.
Well, I was going to play that clip of that woman talking about...
We had a snafu, folks. But we're going to play some music.
Don't let anybody make you think
all right, here we go.
that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, "You're too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God."
Yeah. Ever have a dream that felt so real that you weren't sure if you were waking up? I know how you feel, homie. Yeah. It was all a dream, a scheme of rules, nothing to prove. So we invaded other countries on whatever we choose. It's a good reason to keep the media fiends leaking that they're so dangerous. The bullets might just be heat seeking. Realize, man, by killing them, we killing ourselves. How can Miss Rice or Colin Powell live with themselves? The smell of this bullshit is fucking noxious. We send our brothers fighting to bring them back in black gray boxes. Still nobody here wants to report the truth. They just distort the truth, then report to you that everything is going fine on the other side. But still never tell us how many sisters or brothers died, how many mothers cried, how many kids wept because they mama dead or they dad isn't here yet. While these motherfuckers fly around on they legit, giving mixed signals just in case there's no fear left. I used to wish that it was just a dream, and I still do. No matter how far I move, it's still in my rear view. The sad truth is, this dream will never disappear. I know, cause when I woke up, this song was still here. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. I sit back and watch the world. It was all a dream. It was all the dream. It was all the dream. I sit back and watch the world. It was all the dream. This can't be real. This can't be real, man. This isn't real. It was all a dream. That's what I tell myself to cope with and deal. Try to convince myself these several years were not even real. Try to convince myself the media was making this up. That if I wait here, Morpheus will be waking me up. But instead I'm in my bed, game over. I ain't even drank nothing, but I got a hangover. First I was drunk from the lies they were feeding me. Then I sobered up and realized they were mistreating me. I stumbled out my bed and tried my best to gain some sense of it. The reasons for the cover-up, the reasons for the censorship. Now I realize that Uncle Sam was not befriending me. He was only using me to be friends with the enemy. A presidential terrorist, ain't that a contradiction? I guess it goes to show the truth is stranger than fiction. But they don't even show the truth when soldiers are missing. I'm only trying to show the truth. Won't you fucking listen? It was all a dream. It was all a dream. I sit back and watch the world. It was all a dream. It was all the dream. It was all the dream. It was all the dream. I sit back and watch the world. It was all a dream.
In Las Vegas, you can get fined. I could be wrong, but I think it's up to $300 for feeding homeless people.
Oh, don't feed the animals.
Exactly, and they're trying to pass a similar law in Miami right now. So yeah, don't feed the homeless. The idea being, if you feed them too well, they'll hang around, kind of like a mutt.
Yeah, because if you
or an alley cat,
you know that if you give a human food, he'll survive and he'll still be around in a week. So we don't want that.
If you see a starving person, don't feed them because you might be arrested.
And